Hello guys! So today we will be talking about how to make a portrait using vivid colors, not the regular skin tone. In this piece I use blue as my dominant hue, and the lighting source is coming from below. So as you could see, it's more brighter on the darker side or on the lower part of the face. So with this one, I chose the blue color as my primary tone or the dominant tone, and the one that's reflecting off the light would be my yellow and my orange shades. So with this one, I started out basically with two different sections. I also used the wet and wet technique. So as you know, wet and wet technique is when you damp the paper first so that when you put on your color, it will bleed smoothly together. So in this one, I'm very careful not to bleed the colors together because blue and yellow are exactly on the opposite of the color wheel. So if they bleed out, it will be a muddy transition, which will make it more muddier and more messier compared to more artistic. So when working with two primary colors that are completely opposite of each other, you have to be careful not to allow them to bleed together, or else you will get a muddy effect, which is very dirty in the eyes. So when I'm using wet on wet technique, I make sure that it doesn't overlap, that the water does not overlap on the side of the paper, which will be on the contrast color. So I started out with basic blue shade, which is I think sky blue, and then I work with my tones on the darker end, adding a little bit of darker hues, which is phthalo blue, and then for the highlights, which is the warm tones, I started off with a yellow lemon hues, and I put on red orange on top of the lemon yellow hue once it's dried up. And when you're layering, it's very important that you note that you have to wait for the first layer to completely dry, because if not, then it will just simply bleed out to each other and you will not get that gradient effect. We want to have that gradient effect in order for the colors to transition smoothly. Now with the hair, it's very simple. It's a black hair. However, I did not use wet on wet technique. I use wet on dry technique on this one, just to make sure that I get those crisp flyaway hairs. But on the highlights, I use my base color, which is the blue, because it should be reflecting off from the same light source. So even though we have a dark black hair, it still reflects the same light, which is a little bit similar to your base color. So in this one, it's going to be my skin type, which is blue, as the most dominant part. So more obviously, it should be the same color that I would be using as a reflection on the hair, or as a highlight on the hair. Now for the background, I use this dark pink, different hues of pink from different set of, I think, peony pink, and then I work on fuchsia pink, and then I add a little bit of violet with my pink to create a darker tones on the end, on the back of the hair. So this is the final piece, and I hope I get to help out, and let me see what you think. Bye bye.